have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Так вот, не первый раз я вам говорю, что вы провалились.
Well, now for the first time, I can tell you that you're a disaster.
So they said they were walking out the press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said, I said, call him. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
And we can make sure that the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are best utilized to provide us with better lives. In short, we need a great reset.
I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Welcome everyone, episode 17. I'm here with Mr. Fealty.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, bro?
Doing
you do
good.
look
Trying out a new camera here.
Yeah, you look actually much crisper. The colors are better. Yeah, everything's like
checking on my phone to see the color correctness of this camera. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's better. It's better than it was before. But I didn't really notice until you changed it. But now I can see the difference now.
Yeah, I still have the old cameras up here, but I ain't gonna be using it no more.
Dude, I can even see like the is that interference pattern on that monitor back there?
Yeah, this game I have Sonic Spinball in for the Sega Genesis right there.
Is that on an analog television or something?
Oh yeah, that's an old Zenith TV right there.
Oh no, dude, that makes me feel so like nostalgic.
Oh yeah, and it's fully playable. It works. I've got like the controllers over there. It fully works and everything.
No way. I know. I'd love to get like an old Super Nintendo and like just an analog CRT and rig that up. That'd be sick.
I was originally going to do PlayStation. I have a PlayStation 1, but I haven't used it in years, and I tried it out earlier, and it wasn't working. And I was like, all right, well, I still have a Sega, so... But this game is a little bit wonky, so that's why it's got a little bit of like that fuzz going on. So I might have to find a different game. And then that's my Line 6 amplifier here that hopefully I will set up someday. Going to try and crack out the guitar someday. You know, but yeah, it's the new setup. Trying to update it, make it a little snazzier. Got my Keanu Cast picture over there, but it's a little bit dark. The backdrop's a little bit dark, but I'll get that sorted.
You can tweak that as you go along. See, I my background was really dark. Last week I didn't even turn any of the lights on, but I slowly I added a bunch of lights around the house just to sort of you know how it gets. You get a lot of grain. Yeah, although you don't have any graininess in your picture.
Nope. This camera is great. Guess how much I paid for it?
Go on.
$80.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it on special, like, or something like that?
It's on sale, but you can get it for like 90 pretty regularly. The Razer
Oh,
Keel
really?
Pro. Yeah. Oh, I can show you.
So that is like...
Here is the box.
Oh, right. I wonder
Yeah.
how much that'd be in, like, my money. That'd be... I mean, I am happy with my one. Razer Keo Pro, did you say? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, this one, it pumps up the colors really well compared to my old Logitech C920.
Yeah, so
And,
there's about 200 Australian dollars. That sounds about right. Yeah, but that's
golly.
about the same. It's about the same. About the
Oh,
same.
okay,
You
so that's
said 99.
exchange rate. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's probably a little bit more actually, because but like it's within the same ballpark. It's interesting because it puts out like a similar. Although my camera right now is sort of like throttled a bit because of like StreamYard's limits. It actually goes up to 4K and has a gimbal on it and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, like I could have got the same quality for $300 less. Hey,
you could
what's
have got
up,
the same
Cosmic
quality
Marauder?
with this. Oh,
Yeah,
he's got it.
He's got it. Oh, nice. You can jump on if you want, Cosmic. There's Did you see the fucking invite in the chat? Let me know if it's in there. I'll put it in
Putting it
there
out to
again.
the world. I see it in the chat. Not the Pro.
Yeah,
oh, so you got the
you see it in the
original.
chat. He's got the original one.
Yeah, that one was good, but the Pro, it's so good with low light. Like, I used to have 2 lights up, and it would just blow out the backdrop with light. And now this one, I only got, like, 1 light there and then 1, like, ring light down there. And it's so good. UFC.
Yeah, right. I've got probably too many lights, actually. Although it's good to have all these options because I want to be. I think I want to change up the look a little bit, but I'll leave it as it is for now. This is the one that which one did I get? I got the what is it called? The Insta 360 Link.
I've
Yeah,
never
this
even
one.
heard of that.
It's fucking ridiculous. Look at how much it is.
Wow. So that'd be
It's
like 200 something here?
Yeah, 2.
Wow.
Great camera, like don't get me wrong, but
No, it's clear.
I think you
It's
really
got good color.
to receive the full benefit of it in 4K and stuff, you'd have to I'd have to film in OBS. But
no, it's good for
yeah, I mean,
future
it does.
proofing when you have that option to be like, all right, in the future, kick it up to 4K, whereas
Yeah.
when you only have the 1080p, that's all you've got, so it's
Even
good.
yeah, it's good, but 1080 is like really pretty much standard.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the money is also in the fact that it has a gimbal on it, like, and I can shift it around and.
Oh, so
You know what I
you're
mean?
doing that with just it's a like a mechanical gimbal, so you
It's on
can just move it.
yeah, it's on an actual gimbal, so the camera itself is
Wow.
moving.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so I think that's where a lot of the money actually is in the product.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great product. I mean, a lot of people. I found it because I was like, which is the best? Because you can go with through a lot of webcams,
Oh yeah.
then pay a lot of money for them, and they're really shit.
Mm-hmm.
But there's obviously some good ones that you've discovered that aren't a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
money that are pretty good.
Well,
So,
luckily, I
you
found
know,
this because of Chrissy Mayer in the Content House. I was looking up options because she has a 4K webcam as well, but it's like a Lortech or something. It's some like random company that just sells like a 4K camera. It doesn't need any drivers or anything, apparently. I've never heard of a 4K camera that doesn't need drivers or any type of software whatsoever.
Interesting.
It's like that's the first sign of like this isn't really that good. So I was trying to find something because Content House was having this audio delay issue, and I really wanted to just knock out any and all possible causes for that. And luckily we figured out what the cause was at the last Content House, and it's a mixture of internet issues with StreamYard. So StreamYard will desync the audio if you're having packet loss. So the video file is
Right.
larger than the sound file. So sound file comes through much easier. So it
Mm.
then it doesn't keep it synced up, the sound file and the video file. So over time, if you're having like a little bit of packet loss with the internet, 5 hours goes by. Content House is 48 hours long. 5 hours goes by,
Right.
and now people are like way out of sync. So we figured out what the cause was. It wasn't the camera, luckily, but I was looking up cameras like a whole bunch to just try and like offer like a cheap option. And that's when I found the Keo Pro. And I was like, wow, like, $80 for a 1080p webcam. I looked up all the reviews, and the reviews were great on it. And here,
Yeah.
like, as it is, I mean, compared to my Logitech, this is like unbelievable.
It's great. It's doing really well for that kind of darker environment, especially
Oh, yeah.
too, because you know how some of them can really go to shit once you start to dim it down a bit. That works
Yeah.
really, really well. I'm quite impressed with that.
Yeah, literally, it's
Um,
just one like halogen bulb up here, and then a ring light down here, and that's pretty much all that's lighting. Like you can see, even if I move my hand here,
I
it's
can
gonna
see
blow
how it
out. Like,
adjusts. Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's
it handles that really well though.
yeah.
It doesn't like spaz out.
And honestly, I haven't tinkered with the settings really. The only thing I shut off was the autofocus, because autofocus on it's a little wonky. It really tries to autofocus all the time.
Yeah, that's what my one does. Like people get like if it follows me around, it'll just keep zooming in and zooming out, and people get like because I move my face a lot, and I think it reacts to that.
Oh yeah, I would be bad
And
for that,
like,
because I mean I'm not sitting, so I could just, you know.
see right now how it's like zooming in and zooming out all the time. It gives people motion sickness, so I have
Yeah.
to like set it back to. Anyway, what was I talking about? Let's before we start anything, I want to show you something really funny that I saw.
Let's see that picture you just had up there from Chrissy.
Oh yeah. We must be more sensitive about Amy Schumer's eating meatriosis. Okay.
That is shocking. That is absolutely. She looks like a squirrel.
She looks
Like
like
her-
a big like a pear. I don't know. But yeah, she's this is exactly what it looks like.
Yep, there goes that belt. That is bad. It's amazing with all the Ozempic stuff going on in the world of fame and fortune that
Well, there's a shortage.
There's her. Oh, is there?
There's a shortage. So I don't know if it's affecting these richer people, but I heard there was a shortage at least. I'm not sure if that's still the go.
That's shocking.
Wait,
You
is
know
this
what? There's
real?
probably no shortage. You want to know what it is? They're trying to pump up the price. Oh, we have a shortage, supply and demand. The price has to go up because it's so hard to make. That's what it is.
Yeah. Is there a shortage? Ozempic. Why did the Ozempic shortage happen? The worldwide shortage of semaglutide started to affect Australia. I don't care about Australia. Oh, it's a
You should a
worldwide one
little.
anyway. So, well, I don't need this thing, so I don't care about the fatties here. They can just have less breakfasts. Started to affect Australia in early 2022 when Novo Nordisk couldn't supply enough Ozempic to meet an unexpected increase in demand due to off-label. So okay, so it's not like it dipped in supply. It's that everyone fucking wanted it all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
That's
Once they
why.
found out
Okay.
it worked for that, it just went through the roof. Because it used to be for diabetes before, so people with diabetes would take it, and now they're like shit out of luck because they can't get it
Would you
anymore.
think they'd have? You'd think they'd have like. Oh, but it's not like super essential for someone with diabetes, though. It'd be more of like a.
Yeah, it's something along with diabetes. Like I do believe you still have to take your insulin and stuff, but like apparently it was something for that like it was a good help.
Helps
Like,
you over time, yeah.
yeah, it's
Hello,
it's
Mr.
not a small
Banjamoid.
loss.
Welcome to the chat. Ozempic stuff is crazy. So many bad side effects. I've been hearing that. I've been hearing yeah, and it's become like super, super popular. Intermittent Ozempic shortages are expected throughout 2024, while Victoza shortages. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, apparently on Tucker
Whatever.
Carlson, it's a drug that once you start taking it, you can't stop ever taking it. Like it's one of
Whatever?
those things. Yeah, like apparently, like it's one of those things to get off of it. It takes a long time. Like you can get off it, but like kind of like brain
benzos or
pills.
something.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
brain
like
pill. where
benzos and
it's-
SSRIs.
Oh, exactly. SSRIs, exactly. Like where you hear these people, like it's like, yeah, this is gonna take like 6 months, where you're gonna have to wean yourself off it, and the whole time you're gonna have like real mental issues, like.
Yeah, I mean the mental, those psych meds and stuff, they can be tricky. There's a lot of drugs though, like there's quite a few drugs out there that need titration, so what they call it, when you have to slowly increase and slowly decrease, otherwise you're fucked. Like several things that I'm on, I'm titrating off right now, and it's like I'm halfway through the like year process. It's fucking it's intense. There's a lot of shit out there that they, and I think a lot of it's just like overcautiousness, but
Well,
it's
with your
like,
brain,
yeah.
you don't want to be.
With your brain, it's you don't want to mess around with that stuff. Like,
Yeah,
sort
I
of
had
a
a
funny thing
family member.
before.
They didn't even tell my family member, like, oh yeah, by the way, this is gonna be something that's gonna take a long time to get off of. And they put my family member on it, and he was on it for months. And like when he found out what it actually was, he was so pissed because he wasn't expecting that. It was just like a little like,
Right.
oh, you're not gonna be stressed anymore. You know, like, oh, that's a big help. Okay, you just think, oh, it's a pill. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna feel stressed. Great, you know.
It's not quite as easy as that, though. The people realize this once they get there.
Yeah.
SpongeBob said, if you stop it, the weight loss comes back. So Ozempic, some people even end up fatter afterwards. Messes with your perception of hunger. I can see how that would happen. I could definitely see how that would happen, because people are using this thing as a crutch as opposed to trying to actually develop a stronger will against eating 7 breakfasts, or something like that. It's been a while since I read up on it. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it to be something like that. I can see a lot of that shit happening. I did find this thing funnier before. Sorry,
it
go
could be
ahead.
a placebo, though. Like, you know, there's some aspects of, like, you think you're taking this thing that's going to make you less hungry, then all of a sudden you're feeling less hungry, you know, and you're like, oh, it was definitely the pill. And it's like, was it, though? Or maybe you just convinced yourself you had this magical thing that you're not going to feel hungry anymore, you know? So it's, with weight loss, it's so tough. I mean, I lost a ton of weight. I gained back a ton of weight. I got a lot to lose again, but, like, you know, even if you just do a diet and stuff, eating is, you know, it's too often treated like, oh, it's like nothing. You know, we shouldn't worry about that. Fat is healthy. You know, look at Amy Schumer. It's like no one's gonna tell her she looks like a big, gigantic freaking squirrel face. You know, she looks like the mom from freaking American Pie. There, she should be like, oh, Stifler. You know, like what the
Jennifer
heck?
Coolidge.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
You know, she looks just like her. You know, she can't even have her eyes open when she smiles. That's how big her cheeks are. That is
What's her
wrong.
name? Jennifer Coolidge. Yeah.
See? That's... give it to me, Stifler. She looks just like her. Golly, people don't do the Ozempic. She's looking good there, though.
She's a pretty elderly woman.
Yeah.
Elderly? How old is she? She would be, let's see, cross that out. 62. Oh, she's not that old.
Yeah.
She's not. I'm thinking like maybe.
Well, you should see
70-something.
pictures of her when she was young, though, before she did all the plastic surgery and stuff, though. Like, she was, like, really quite a looker.
Wait. Is this like there?
Yeah,
Or even
that's
sooner?
still, yeah, even sooner. I think the second from the left one there on the top there. Look at that. Look at that. Difference.
Oh. I bet there's a bunch of them in this one. They called young Jennifer Coolidge not good looking enough to cast. Oh, I see. So she got a bunch of work done.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean, she is
I guess things were
stunning
difficult.
there.
She would see because today they wouldn't make her do it. Although it does, to be fair, it doesn't look like she's done heaps. I can still recognize that that's her.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's just
not
weird
like a Michael
folds.
Jackson transfer. Yeah.
And the cheeks too.
Yeah,
Like
she
she
was
definitely
pretty.
had like stuff put in her cheeks to make the cheeks more puffy and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Is this her there?
I
On
went to
sign?
this clothing store, and the saleswoman is wearing this low-cut thing. So I said to her, "Can I ask you a question? When you put on a top like that,
I don't want to see
what's
you,
your
mate.
thought process? What's going on?"
There she is. Wow, she is a pretty lady.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like that Starlight girl who got all that work done.
Which one?
The Starlight girl from The Boys. She got like a ton of work done on her face and looks like a new Dylan Mulvaney almost.
Oh, Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
I wonder if
It's
anyone's
probably
checking
same
on that.
doctor.
Oh, that trans doctor, that crazy one.
Well, it's just a doctor that does plastic surgery, but it looks like the same kind of like deal. Yeah,
Have you seen that one lately? There's a Asian plastic surgeon that's doing like all of these surgeries, and it's like, wait, how would I type it in? Can't remember.
To make
Can't
people
remember what it's called.
taller.
No, to make people look younger, like he's taking all this life off them. But I think what's happening is he got a lot of attention because a guy went and did it, and he got this really, and they just look hideous, like they look really, really bad. And I think the secret is what they're doing is they're using those Snapchat filters that make you look
Oh,
so with the before and after photos, they are doing the surgery, but on top of the surgery, they're applying the face filter, so they actually look like a different person. And there was
yeah.
a lot of it was a bit awkward. I bet I would find it if I just typed in plastic surgeon on Twitter.
Just put in,
But
I
there
guess,
would
like
be,
Asian plastic surgeon youth revitalization. I mean, Korea, they
bet.
do a lot though with that. There's so much plastic
Here it
surgery in
is.
Korea. Wow, that was
Straight
quick.
away. There it is, straight away on TikTok. So
What the heck?
this one is not using the face filter, okay? So this
definitely
one,
not.
This is just this is just like a oddly terrifying. What's the TikTok though? Dr. Kim, is that it? Dr.
Yeah, it says
Kim?
Dr. Kim. That's definitely South
So-
Korean then, I guess. Kim Jong Kim. Cheong.
Is this- Yes. This is it. So, oh no, I can't do the music. So this,
Okay.
right? Okay. What the fuck, dude?
Bullshit.
Exactly. So I think what's happening is all of this is being shrunk down by the filter. They have been given a facelift, but it's not like that's not the same person. Come on now.
Wow. Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, the jawline is totally different.
Yeah.
The whole skull is different.
Out of control. Like here's another one.
Oh gosh.
Oh wait, how's that? Fucking...
Okay, she looks like an ancient mystic woman.
Here's burnt to leather.
What the fuck? They messed up on those ears. I guess that filter didn't help with the ears. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. The ears is something that people always pointed out. Where does it go? Yeah, the ears are missing.
Yeah.
Although what I think you can see in some other ones where they've sliced them down and stitched them up, because I think that seems to be a part of this extreme facelift business. Like they look at this.
They really like
Mental.
to squeeze the skin. The only other thing I could think of
Yeah.
is like this is all like movie magic, like with the fake skin beforehand. That's why they're like squeezing the skin and stuff.
Oh right, yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a fucking gay music.
It's Asians.
But yeah, I think you get the idea.
That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's either a filter or there's just like a young person. Because look at her chest. That's not an old person's
Right.
chest there.
Yeah, I think it's a. Oh, come on. I have to mute it every time you put this Britney shit behind it. Anyway.
See, lying
I think-
Asians. They all are jowly too, if you notice that. It could be either
Jowly?
way. They could be, yeah, well, jowly is like your cheeks when they hang down on like the sides. It's
Yeah.
It's Chris
Yeah, I
Mayer's
see.
nightmare right now. She's hoping to not become jowly. She's doing jowl checks.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
so
on.
you see the
it's a
way
good
the cheeks are. It looks like it could just be like the fake like mask stuff they put on like actors. Because look at her chest. That's not really an old person's chest, I would say.
Mm.
And then see
It's-
the chest there.
It's actually it's odd. It says these two are actually decent. Who said this? These two are actually decent. Let's have a look. Are you
Wataya.
sure?
Yeah, I mean, look at the neck, like, and then the head is always too small for the body too, which kind of throws it off for me as well.
Look, even if I was that like old, and I don't think that. I mean, they're not exactly disfigured, but like
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know if I could cope with being changing completely into a totally different face like that. Like it's a different. People would. It's basically like that person. Everyone that knows you, you've died now, and there's a new person there with all the same memories and shit. But you'll change because you won't even see yourself as a person in the mirror. Like you see yourself as a different person.
No. I mean, it looks like,
It's
I mean, the way it looks like with the dots going across the forehead is making me feel like they're doing like, it's like a facelift where they're just pulling up the skin, you know, if this was to be somewhat real. So that would then pull up like everything here and everything. And as you can see, her eyes there, like at when she's old, they're kind of horizontal, a little bit kind of curved down on the outside. And then after now the outside's kind of pulled up, which makes me think like, okay, yeah, they are just doing like, it's like a facelift. But I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, I guess, if it is real.
Long-term, fully healed result of Dr. Kim. Not bad, but those permanently upturned lips look odd.
Yeah, because your face is being pulled back.
I just feel like it's. I mean, that doesn't look like an ugly person. It's just.
No.
I don't know. It's a different person, though. It's a completely different person.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Anyway.
And their chests. What throws me off is like this part of their body here is just like the chest here doesn't look like, you know, a person of that age. Like you're 60 years old. This is going to be kind of pot marked and like kind of wrinkly and everything. You know, and especially
Unless
since they're
they're
women too. If they gave birth, those boobs are not going to be fresh daisies there. Yeah. So that throws
You
me
know,
off.
Asians have like different genetics. They're smaller people. They're like, I don't know. It just happens differently.
Yeah, they grow to like 80
this.
years old and they become an old mystic overnight that look like they're like 500
Yeah,
years old.
exactly. Overnight it happens. I thought this was funny. This guy's face. I love how much she's enjoying it.
Wow.
I thought that was funny.
That is hilarious. Someone did that, I think it was with Domino's and Papa John. He had, with the two phones doing the Domino's and Papa John. Then I saw a video once where Domino's and Papa John delivered at the same time. And they're coming up to the door, and it was like, oh man, what's going to happen? That's hilarious, though. I was surprised they didn't start cursing each other out in Chinese, though. I was waiting for some of those Chinese curses to be slung.
I would thought,
Look up, like, Domino's, like, to Papa John's phone prankers. Like, these things are great. There's a bunch. This is, like, my favorite stuff to kind of look up sometimes. Nope. Denied. You put 2 P's in Papa. That's Peppa.
Peppa. I'll probably find if I Googled it hard enough.
Yeah, the Twitter sphere, I guess, doesn't have it.
Yeah, Twitter search is pretty shit, to be fair. Aurelio's first Domino's employee argument. Domino's and Papa John's prank call. Original TikTok meme.
Hey, John, welcome to get started for you today. Come again? Wait, what?
Hello. Whoa.
Thank you for calling Papa John's. What can we get started for you? Would you like to try our large one-topping pizza for $7.99?
No, this is Domino's Houston.
Domino's.
Ours is actually $6.99. I don't.
What's up, Grifty?
This is Domino's Houston. You're selling a large one-topping pizza for $6.99? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you trying to uppercut our prices? Is that what you're fucking doing? And you called us?
This is Papa John's?
Fuck you, Domino's. Your pizza tastes like fucking
Papa John's, bro.
I got fired from Domino's. Domino's. They're not loyal to their fucking customers.
But you couldn't make it. You're a
Pull up on us. Pull up.
Yeah.
Whoa.
They were gonna throw down. There's gonna be a pizza down.
That just like fully escalated.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Going American on it. You know, that's how we roll.
Very funny. Speaking of Americans,
oh gosh,
someone
here
who's
we
not
go.
American. Actually, maybe I should save this for a second. I'll come back to. I'll come back to that.
We're gonna go to Malaysia.
Yeah. Well, kind of. National security threat. What was this all about? I put this on the fucking in the hashtag, so I thought I might as well cover it for 5 seconds. What was this national security threat? Here we go.
House Intelligence Chair speaking out about a imminent, or he doesn't say imminent, serious national security threat. The lack of your ability to say.
Did he say organism?
Raise distress for some Americans.
I'm pretty sure he said an organism threat.
National security threat. The lack of your ability to say
maybe
has the potential to raise distress for some
I
Americans.
think so.
In the simplest of terms, can you tell Americans that there's nothing they have to worry about right now in terms of what he describes as a national security threat?
Look, I think in a way that question is impossible to answer with a straight yes, right? Because
So that means they want you to be fucking frightened. Like they've built up this boogeyman. He's asked them the direct question for like, can you put our mind at ease? And he's like, well, I guess the fact that you're asking that question just answers your question. Fuck you, man.
Because Americans understand that there are a range of threats and challenges in the world that we're dealing with every single day. And those threats and challenges range from terrorism to state actors. And we have to contend with them, and we have to contend with them in a way where we
I hate this body language.
ultimate security of the American people.
Well,
right.
We're going to do the thing to, you know,
He's going to ensure
bring everything together to take it apart. To do the thing.
confidence that we believe.
To be fair,
we can and
he does better than Corinne Jean-Pierre, whatever that fucking. I mean, she is irritating. Like she's something else.
I don't watch her.
She's as irritating as Jen Psaki was. And that was like, Circle Back. In fact, Circle Back was even probably less annoying somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch them anymore. Like, I know what they're saying because I hear what they're saying from other people. And, I research what's actually happening in the world. Like, no information's coming from that room. It's not like when McEnany was in there where she had her big book of information. It's like there's no point in watching that because the real truth is never going to be in that room anymore.
No, I mean this is the propaganda room, and it all comes over about this fucking thing that was released today. The House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence has made available to all members of Congress information concerning a serious national security threat. I'm requesting that President Biden declassify all information relating to this threat so that Congress, the administration, and our allies can openly discuss the actions necessary to respond to this threat. In other words, give us all your money. We want to keep pumping it into war. So the Russians turned around and said something like, where was it? Maybe I have to go. Like, this was the original thing that went around. People didn't buy it straight away. They were just like, nah, I don't buy that. But I did put a bookmark somewhere. Maybe it's just my thing.
Yeah,
Russia's obviously denying it.
It is not from us. It will be from someone who come across border at the southern side, from underneath, from your buttocks of the America. That's where it will come from, not from us. We are busy.
Yeah.
We bob Ukraine. We get in big fight. We try to take land. We stop NATO.
Where is it? It's not anywhere anymore. That's so annoying.
Yeah, maybe it got yeeted from free speech Twitter.
This is what pisses me off about this fucking platform, Oh, here we go. Kremlin calls nuclear space... So apparently it was all over this nuclear space weapon, which was basically just a con to get all your money. Now, the Kremlin calls nuclear space weapon story a trick to get Biden's Ukraine aid passed. Now, I mean... the fact that we're in a day and age where this is way more believable is it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, the Russians aren't necessarily trustworthy. Like their media isn't necessary. I'm not talking about Russian people. I'm talking about their news media and the government of Russia. They're not exactly the greatest people.
Yeah,
they're doing better than the West at the moment, though. Apparently, like over there, they're not paying through the fucking nose for food and energy and stuff. They figured out solutions that just work for them. And I'm not speaking firsthand, obviously. Yeah, I mean, they're just all of these saying all of this shit that we're paying for to punish them is not working. And
we're
no
not
one cares.
punishing them. We're helping them. We're only punishing ourselves.
Exactly.
That's really the only ones that are going to punish.
Exactly. The Kremlin has blasted what it is calling the malicious fabrication by the U.S. government of its alleged new space weapon, which set off a frenzy of media speculation this week. Putin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that he believes it was a trick by lawmakers to get Biden's massive Ukraine and foreign defense aid package passed. It's obvious that Washington is trying to force Congress to vote on the aid bill by hook or by crook, he said. U.S. officials and media continue to walk back the initial hype and deadline, grabbing claims of a Russian nuclear space weapon. According to the latest from Reuters, the space-based weapon U.S. intelligence believes Russia may be developing is more likely a nuclear-powered device to to blind, jam, or fry the electronics inside satellites. So it's not even like, so they're walking back. First, it's a nuke, like it's a warhead in space, like right from God sort of shit, but like with nukes on them. And now it's just like a jammer. And now, what other shit? Then they're like, but wait, they killed that other guy died in prison. What's his name?
Oh,
The
Navalny, I
opposition
think.
Navalny, and it's like everyone's like, yeah, Russia, Putin did it. Putin did it. Well, actually, there's some really, really interesting facts around that. Like, well, I don't know if I'll call them facts. Let's say potential facts around that story. It would seem as if he just died. Actually, if Putin wanted to kill him, he'd be dead.
Hmm.
And he even
or
said
we
that
killed him
publicly.
because Putin was getting good press after the Tucker Carlson interview, and they're like, we need to have something to make him look bad.
Possibly. I mean, yeah, possibly. I guess so.
he got Epsteined maybe then, except less questionable.
Like after he got poisoned the first time or some shit, he was poisoned a couple of times because that's like a real Russian thing to do. He was arrested and he was on bail or something like that, and he wasn't supposed to leave the Russian territory, but he fled to Germany anyway. And Vladimir Putin personally intervened and allowed that to go ahead and approved the medical treatment for him over in Germany. And even though he was like flying in the face of their parole laws, still allowed that to happen. So I'm not sure why all of that stuff like happened. He was allowed to continuously flout the law and all this sort of shit. Actually, Putin went quite lenient on this guy who was actually a Nazi anyway. So the whole fucking West, I love this whole thing, this new thing, how the West is all of a sudden praising like actual Nazis all of a sudden. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Oh, because
What?
the West is very questionably close to all of their practices, beliefs, modus operandi. I mean, you got to kind of at some point call a duck a duck. And it's not looking good.
Christ. I mean, they literally they raise up literal Nazis above other people, like, because that's better than Trump, apparently.
Well, because Trump is the Nazi, right? Like he's the one who's totally that. But
oh yeah, it's not at all the fucking Ukraine the Ukraine government, half of the fucking army over there. It's none of those. It's not. None of these fucking freaks over in the militias and shit that are. It's none of that. It's all Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, and if you do look at those pictures, very soon they're going to start calling all those pictures AI and fake news, and
yeah, that's already started happening.
Yeah, that's their next step, is to if you actually post something that's real, they're going to say it's fake, and then they're going to start arresting people for putting out disinformation with their disinformation board, and then next thing you know, there is no more truth, and Big Brother tells you what truth is, and Big Brother is showing you videos of the separatists and the unclean, like admitting to all of their crimes, even though their crime was nothing other than just wanting to be free.
I mean, they get up there at the European Parliament and the Davos and all that shit and say, our biggest problem facing the world right now is mis and disinformation. It's like, hold a minute. That's like, you guys love that shit. You can't get enough of it. That's you require it to keep your fucking con going.
Yeah. I mean, they've utilized it for decades now. They've toppled governments all across the world with disinformation and the unending just miasma of false information that just totally topples any type of media in a country to the point where the people don't know which way is up anymore. And then next thing you know, then they put in their person who's going to be the puppet in power, and everything's gone to poop. And it's like that's what's been turned inwards on the Five Eyes, the people of the Five Eyes. It used to be absolutely illegal to do it, but we're going to experience what's happened all around the world in all the countries that have tried to get off the petrodollar and the US dollar. And the next thing you know, oh, you're a bad country. You have terrorists. We know you have terrorists there. Hey, Venezuela, we're going to tariff you. You know, oh, you're one of the most opulent countries in the world. Oh, you don't want to use the US dollar anymore? Next thing you know, oh, gee golly. I mean, even look at Ukraine, what Putin was saying about Ukraine. 2014, what happened with the overthrow. That stuff that's been talked about before Putin ever even said it. Everyone kind of knew it. But that's what we do.
Right.
We go in and we just destroy countries from the inside out. It's so much easier to do than having to send in a military. And that's what's happening to us. It's gonna be fun.
Did you see how many
Tucker's just had? Didn't Tucker just have on? Wasn't that long ago a guy who was talking about AI? I think it was, and about disinformation and how it's been turned in against us, and that's like going to be like the next stage of. It's already been going on, but that's going to be like the next stage of what they're going to do. They did it for the election. They did it for COVID and stuff, and now it's going to be turned up, to maximum.
Well, I mean, they've already they've been using it in, like, DeSantis was using it against Trump in his presidential campaign.
What a lame thing that was.
And it was like, do you remember the actual photos? It was him kissing or hugging fucking Anthony Fauci.
Was it? Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but you could tell that they were like, you could tell that they were AI, but like a lot of people can't tell. Like, it's amazing. I was watching this video the other day called I don't know, it was on YouTube, and it was something about it's just like an hour-long video of people that were either falling for AI, and when other people would point out, well, hey, this person's got 3 hands, they'd be like, you're just fucking evil. You're going to hell. Like, oh my God.
Really?
It's like, yeah, it's equally amusing as it is terrifying to see how like convinced people are of like, so they do stuff like, oh, my 5-year-old son drew this masterpiece and no one paid any attention. And it was just, and it'd be like this Da Vinci like work, and it'll be like an obvious, but the kid's got 3 hands.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, that's a masterpiece. You should be so proud of yourself and all this stuff. And then when people come in as like this AI, they're like, you're just hateful and nasty and spiteful, and it's going to turn on you one day. And it's like,
wow. Yeah, there's something universal with people that do something like that. They'll say, like, respond in that way, shape, or form. Something universal about them. It's funny how they just more often than not seem to be ending up on, like, left-leaning sides of the fence right now. They didn't always, that's for sure. But it's like, they're just dumb. They're just dumb people. And I think there's a lot of them on the earth. There's certain, I would say they're the majority.
Yeah, dude, there's like 80%. And that's the frightening, unfortunate truth. Like, you can really, and this comes down to, and Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot. He goes on about the Pareto distribution, or the Matthew principle, or whatever it is, the 80-20 split.
Yeah,
which you do find in a lot of different, and you can scale it up to the whole planet. 20% of everyone knows what's going on and is capable of doing it. When I say doing it, like running things and carrying it forward for the rest of us. 80% of everyone else is just fighting it the whole way because they don't get it.
Well, because also out of the 20%, it doesn't mean they're all good people, and the 20% is very capable of ruling the 80%, getting the 80% to do whatever they want. So you get a smart person in there.
That's a very excellent point. They're not all, the 20% aren't necessarily virtuous. They're gonna understand things better, and they're going to manipulate the situation towards their wants. I mean, you would too. Any individual would, pursue their own wants and needs, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you have power and you can get away with whatever you kind of want to do.
Right. And it's unfortunate that the further you get to this power vacuum at the top, like there is it almost like, because of like competition and the way things go and the backstabbing nature of the planet and human nature, it's like it almost invites a bad personality, and it almost requires you to be somewhat evil to get kind of ahead anywhere. Not anywhere, but like, I don't know, like a lot of people get bummed out by the fact that the world seems to be operated by a few rich men. And people go, well, those men are evil. And it's like, okay, all right, I'll accept that as a premise for the sake of like a thought experiment. But how would you, in that model, usurp that, get in there and change that for the better? Would you not have to go and do equally suspicious things in order to rise to those ranks, in order to compete with that person?
Yeah, that's like actually shockingly. I was actually just thinking about that earlier today. It snowed today, and I was outside shoveling, and one of my neighbors coming out and chatting with me, and his response to all the corruption was to delete people, if you know what I mean. And I was like, so you're going to solve a problem of these corrupt people who are doing this system that's so complex. It's not one group of people. It's groups and groups of people all kind of working together at the same goal of screwing over everybody else. But it just so happens that it just intertwines them together, even though they're not one group with one pure goal. They're just a whole bunch of people trying to screw over
aligned
the rest.
interests.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Enemy of an enemy. And I was like, and your answer to solve that is going to be to delete them? I was like, how is that going to make you better than what they were? They're not just deleting necessarily. I mean, they're doing it through other means, but it's like, so that's your fix?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, a lot of people, they don't know how to find like a way around it. But I look at it as it's evolution. It's almost like our immune system. So we need that evil that exists in humanity, and it needs to keep on growing and get more, powerful, so that at a point we do have to see it for what it is, so that we can have a time period of actual goodness. So good's always going to come in after the bad. It's that stupid saying Tim Pool loves, like, oh, weak men, hard times, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not his saying though. That's been around for a long time, and it's a fairly. I
like to take a dig at him whenever possible. That's really all it is.
Yeah, he's kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, well, after the whole Eliza Blue thing, it was kind of like I got awoken from a sleep and saw him kind of for like what he is, and it's like, wow, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an actual asshole. Like he's That's the best way to put it. He's not necessary. He's not necessary. He's not.
Well, think about it. The reason why the vast majority of the people that watch him is because they figured out that the mainstream media wasn't necessary. It's like, oh, here's this dude doing 3 videos a day. I'm going to find out kind of like important stuff about happening in the politics of the world and just general kind of world news. And I'm going to be abreast of everything. And then he's going to do a podcast that night where he's going to talk about the same things, but with more depth and maybe with someone who might know something. And that's what you're thinking all the time. And then Eliza Blue happens, and his newspaper guy just writes a puff piece that has nothing to do about anything and asks her nothing of importance. Oh, yeah, and Jack Murphy he had on the show, who then turned out to be another thing. And it's like, look, I don't try and blame creators for like, oh, you didn't do a full background check on a person, find out exactly who they are. Like, it's not that. It's a matter of when he finds out these people are the worst liars, two-faced, and it's like everything about about them is just screaming, like, in the very least, shady. And he doesn't come out and be like, you know what? I just found out all this stuff, and you know what? Shady. He doesn't just, like, agree. It's like, you can't refute it. And then he has a person come out. So then you start realizing, oh yeah, he does these 3 videos a day, and then he does the same stuff at night where he doesn't freaking let anyone else talk. You know, it's like, you know what? I'm going to have on a senator and overtalk the senator about how to write a bill.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, isn't that crazy to see him just sit there and filibuster politicians who are like, which on one hand is like, I kind of like to see that on one hand because that's all they do. Like they sit there and filibuster for a living. So it's kind of it's funny to see them sort of like trampled over like that. But yeah, it sort of gets to a point where and it's something that until it's really obvious to you, you don't notice it and then it just goes over. But like once you do notice it, you can't escape it. You can't escape the arrogance, it's just like in every single thing he says. Even the way he laughs and looks at people and just does that little thing with his shirt all the time.
He even has apparently like I've started to catch it. He has hand motions of when he's like, I'm talking, like I'm about to say something. He'll have his hand up because sometimes the camera switch with his new camera person that whatever his name is, Surge, Surge Worldwide or something. Like what the heck is that about? Surge.com. That's it.
Surge.com.
Surge. I'm gonna call him Surge Worldwide. That's because it makes it even dumber sounding. You know, what a dumb thing. Like Sour Patch Lids was great. She was so talented. Not conveying anything that with their whole relationship or whatnot, but like she was way better than
she was a better.
Yeah, but even Bunjamoid there, you're right. Like, I didn't wake up after Jack Murphy. It's like, that was a dude Tim Pool had on his show bi-weekly. It was every other week on a Wednesday he had Jack Murphy on, and that was like months of having to do it every other week. And then when it came out that maybe this dude's a scammer, maybe everything he said is a lie. Oh, look at this video of a thing in the tushy, Like, and Tim said nothing after that, and then yelled at the community, his community. He yelled at for even asking about it. And that was my fail of not waking up at that time, because still at that time I was like, well, he's kind of necessary. Thinking in my head, like, how am I going to start getting information again? I even myself, I had a brief period of like status quo.
First have that exactly. You have that once you first go, oh, well, what's going to be my alternative news source? But it's like at that point in time, you sort of shouldn't really have one source of news.
Yeah.
Like it should never
Well,
be
I still
one
had
source.
many. See, that's the thing. I still had many at that time. And I so quickly, within a week of after the Eliza Blue thing, the news article, that was like, I was already done when the Eliza Blue thing first started. Kind of when he wasn't saying anything and everyone was saying she's getting people deplatformed, she's doing all the shady stuff, and then I got deplatformed. Like at that time I was already kind of done, like, wow, this guy's being quiet about this, and he's had her on the show and supports her and stuff, and then he came out in support of her in a way. And
it doubled down, even fucking denigrated people like Chrissy Mayer, and he said her name, and all these other people, like all of them. The quartering was getting into it like a grift, really. He jumped on the quartering is a grift for no reason. Yeah. I mean, there was no reason for him to be involved, other than he involved himself, like deliberately, and then complained about it.
No,
you can't do that,
he
dude.
was sticking up for Brittany Venti. When Brittany Venti got banned, he stuck up for Brittany because he knew Brittany, and he wasn't cool with that.
Did he?
Yeah, that's how he got banned. He started sticking up for Brittany.
Yeah, but how did he do that?
He made some videos talking about how she was banned off of like Twitter and how that shouldn't happen, and he was talking about Eliza Blue and how she was kind of shady, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but wasn't he also banned from Twitter for a moment?
Yeah, after he was making those videos and he reshared, I think it was the picture. That was the main problem, was like the picture.
Yeah, he deliberately got banned off Twitter. That's my point. He went out of his way to get banned and then complained about it. He could have supported Brittany Venti like everyone else without being banned. In fact, it may have been even more effective if he fucking wasn't banned for a week. But he was. Although, who knows? You can argue that it was more effective because he pulled that stunt, and maybe that's how. And I'm pretty sure that's how his thinking went. I'm going to pull
That's
this
one reason
stunt,
why
I'm
I don't
deliberately
delete
get
my
banned.
tweet.
Then I'm going to get complain about it, and then pretend like I've been persecuted in the exact same way. When no, you haven't. You went and deliberately. You went out of your way to get that result. You can't complain
but
about
I
it.
think
Brittany Venti can.
Pushing a button still counts as, taking a jab at BS. When you see someone get banned because they shared a picture and then you go share a picture, I think it's fair to say he threw his hat in the ring. A little bit.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't agree,
granted,
but that's fair enough.
It was short.
I don't think he gives a shit about anyone. He doesn't give a shit about anyone, including
I would
Brittany
agree with
Venti,
that.
sorry.
I would agree with that.
And he did it all literally for like a bump in his ratings. That he had nothing else to do. He wanted to jump on it. And that's what he did it for. I don't see him as a genuine person at all.
Yeah, but I think 90% of the people in the space of everything are not genuine. Like, I mean, even if what they're doing seems very plausible or believable, I don't believe 90% of people in what they do, say, think, or anything.
The problem,
I mean, like we say,
Jeremy, is
80% the 80-20, right? The 80-20.
Yeah.
So
the whole shtick with Jeremy is that I am the normal guy. I'm genuine. I will, but he's not. He's full of shit. Like, I don't think you should go out and overtly like paint. Yeah, I don't think you should go and paint yourself as like a super down to earth, genuine guy when that's just really not who you are. Just carry on doing your thing. And
I mean, his grift is a little bit much sometimes, I will say. Like, I'm not a big
he'll turn
fan
around.
of it.
He'll, on one hand, he'll say, I've helped so many different creators. And in the same breath, turn around and say, I don't consider any of you people friends. I don't care about any of you.
Yeah.
You're all business associates to me. It's like, well, hold a second. Why did you go and help them with all this personal shit then?
No.
You're just a lying piece of shit anyway.
But that's happening
I
a
don't hate
lot.
Jeremy. In fact, I like him better than I like him better than Tim Pool. Like
Same.
I trust his words more than Tim Pool. In fact,
well, I think he puts a little
much.
bit more, like, when he is going to take a swing or say a word, he's going to do it. Like, he's going to do it to it.
Yeah.
Like, if he wants to get banned to raise his views, he's going to get himself banned to raise his views.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas Tim would pretend to do that. And yeah.
I mean, Tim,
just lock
like,
his account or something.
One of the things with Tim that really got me, like, it was after I kind of stopped watching him, but he did a one of those live streams, like a live event live stream, and they were having sound issues with the live stream, and he's literally sitting there in his chair bashing his employees. Like, literally, like, I mean, I paid them. I guess they didn't know how to get this job done. I guess that's just going to be how it is. And that's just, we're going to have this sound issue for the rest of the show. Like, and then they were supposed to bring people up for, like, questioning. He's like, yeah, I mean, these people are paid and they're here. What, they're not going to bring up people? I guess we don't have a mic set up. I guess we don't have this. It's like, you passive aggressive, pompous ass. Like, you're the head of the company. You
see
don't
them
blame
do that,
your
like
employees.
When he, like you mentioned before, how he will, they'll accidentally change the camera too early, switch their view, and you'll see him, like, pulling faces and shit to people right next to him. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you talking over me?
No.
Like, how dare you talk in the middle of me talking? And you can see how, like, when he has a guest on, that's someone that's sort of bigger than him, they start talking, when they start talking through him and over the top of him, you can see how the annoyance just, like, come over his face. But the fact that he knows that he has to approach the situation differently because this other person's more famous and more liked than him. So it's
I'm sure in his mind he's saying, for
now,
In his mind, he's saying for now. This person's bigger than me for now. He really like. You could tell there are though the famous people that will come on that he's very happy to not talk. Like he's just like, wow, this was a get. This person, like, I'm gonna let them talk, and it's very rare.
Once in a while, once in a while he does that.
But it's
when was the last time he actually did that?
I would say he probably does it with like Alex Jones a little bit. Like he cuts off Alex Jones, but more so to save his own YouTube channel to correct Alex or something.
You have to cut off Alex Jones.
Yeah.
You have to cut him off.
And
otherwise he doesn't stop.
Jack Posobiec, he doesn't cut off as much.
That's right, he doesn't, does he?
He cuts off Libby. I don't think he has much respect for her, but she is an acquaintance.
Right. I actually quite like her.
Yeah, she's not bad. She's not bad. I mean, I dislike the link between the post-millennial and Tim Pool.
The post-millennial, that's it.
Anytime anyone from the post-millennial is on Tim Pool's show, there's just constant clips coming from Tim Pool's show. And I feel like if you're a news platform, you shouldn't have friendships like that. Like the news platform should stay news, and it shouldn't be so like guaranteed like, oh, you're on Tim Pool's thing, we're gonna have videos, continuous. But like you say, like, a lot of people will do and say anything for views, and they know if Tim Pool's name is on something or Timcast, it's going to be viewable on Twitter or other platforms. So, of course, they have to clip it and post it. But it's like, you should be able to get views just because of the article you're making or the news you're reporting. I mean, Tucker Carlson's getting views not because he's Tucker Carlson, but because he's interviewing Putin. He's, exposing stuff left and right. Same with James O'Keefe. Like, that's what news is. They're actually saying something of import that it's like, you have to watch this. I mean, James O'Keefe, they're sending people into migrant things and stuff. It's like, you have to watch that. Whereas post-millennial, it's like, if the way to get people to watch or check out your stuff is to utilize a platform that's a big name, you're not making news, No.
What's this Tenet Media thing?
That's Tim Pool's, his actual thingamabob, I believe. It might be co-owned with someone else, but I'm pretty sure it's
Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, is that Benny Johnson?
I don't know.
All these other people. It's weird. Like, it doesn't.
I mean, it's cool. Lauren Southern's great. I don't really know a lot of those people though.
I'm on and off her. Like, she's okay. She's a bit of a bitch.
I think she's, out of a lot of them, she seems pretty genuine to me. Like, she's just.
Oh, yeah, but until you talk to her on Twitter, then she just turns around and she's a cunt to you on Twitter. She's
well, a lot of people, I
herself.
find, they can't. That a lot of people struggle with communication in text form. They read it in a voice that's very detrimental to what the meaning of the words actually are. And Twitter in and of itself is not a platform meant for communication, no matter what anyone says.
Yeah, it fosters arguments. Like, it's not a pleasant place to be.
Well,
I
you're saying
appreciate
has
Lauren's
no
work.
context. Well, what you're saying has no substance, no context to it. Like, you'd have to write a book to really convey a thought. And that's just what it is. And like Elon Musk said it, like, even though I don't like Elon Musk and I think he's a very evil person, but he said it the best where he says our rate of data transfer is at the speed of our thumbs for typing when we're, talking with someone on the phone. That's your speed of data
Low
transfer.
bandwidth.
Yeah, and it's only one layer of data because all you're doing is text. It's what someone's going to read. So they're going to read it in their voice, in their mindset, and their interpretation of what you're typing. And it's very hard to make sure you type something in the way that they're going to read it with your interpretation, your context, your everything. Whereas right now, we're talking in the second to best method of data transfer. So you could see me, you could kind of get my emotions, you can hear my voice, you can hear the inflection and everything, but it's still not person to person, where it's like there is that kind of like, if we were in an argument, let's say, there would be that aspect of like, who's bigger, is this going to turn into a fist
and all
fight?
of that. Yeah.
But that would be like the full data transfer. So like what Twitter is with that text is so it's detrimental to humanity in a way. It shouldn't be really used for anything of importance. Like, it annoys me a lot of time when someone wants to have like an important conversation with me. I'm like, voice chat me. I'm not going to do this over text. Like, either call me or
I will
voice chat me.
say, yeah, that's fair. I will say I don't like Lauren Southern, the person, but I don't mind her content. I've actually watched it for a long time ever since she was around, basically.
She
And I've
puts a lot
watched
of
the
work into
evolution
it.
of her. Yeah, she does. Like, especially with like that Borderlands one, and what was the other one? She's done a bunch of them that were really interesting. Or was it Farmlands? Can't remember. Was it
I
Borderlands
think
or
it was
Farmlands?
Farmlands.
Yeah, Farmlands, something like that. But she's done a couple like that. I think there was another one called Borderlands too, didn't she? Because she was literally crossing through the Rio Grande with some people. I'm pretty sure she was doing that at one point. She's gone and done some weird, like some interesting stuff. I think she's banned from Australia now.
I would not be surprised.
Well, she lived here for a while and was working with Sky News because that's where her husband was and her child was born here.
I'm pretty sure they got a divorce.
Oh, yeah, right. And I even like that whole thing she did not long ago of like the big expose of the right and the Milo Yiannopoulos and all of that sort of crowd. Like, I enjoyed that. It was like a 2-hour piece. I think she did 2 or 3 of them. But like,
yes, that was a 3-hour one where she was talking, but it wasn't just like an expose of them. It was kind of talking about her experience with them. Like, you know, a lot of stuff that went on.
But it
behind
served
the scenes.
really as an expose of them.
Yeah.
Like, in the course of doing that, she exposed. It wasn't necessarily targeted at specific individuals. There was a lot of people named in there. Tommy Robinson, Milo Yiannopoulos, all those crowd of people. I think even Gavin McInnes at one point was mentioned there. I'm not sure. Can't remember. But
I think he was mentioned, but not as like one of the bad people. He was just like
not one of
party
the,
too.
exactly.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. But like it did confirm a lot of suspicions that a lot of people already had anyway. It's sort of like, oh right, there's this. So we're going to claim to be all virtuous and above, and like, no, you're exactly the same. You're all degenerates. You're all fucking liars. You're all con artists. You're all in it for the money, and you will, you know, it's just whatever.
But then again,
I mean,
though,
everyone's in anything
that's
for
tough to
money.
say, right? Though that's still tough to say because, like, I mean, we are living in a day and age where, I mean, go back 4 years and there's a whole swath of people that didn't know about how much the government lies and the desire to centralize power and take freedom away from the people. And then 2020 happens and a lot of people were like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, 2021 comes with the mandates of something to go inside of you. And then even more people like, whoa, hey, you know, people that didn't care about that rule. Because my mom worked in the school system. So every single year at the start of the year is inoculation season. Where it's like the kids to come in
they've
have
gone
to get
fucked
those.
up.
Yeah.
They fucked up.
That woke up a lot of people.
They overstepped it. Yeah, it did. It woke up too many people. Like that's why because they overstepped their mark with that one. Because they usually boil the frog slowly.
Yeah, but so that's why I say it's tough to say though about like people like Milo and stuff and like what is the range of time for someone to kind of change and become better and make mistakes, like getting into this world of fame and then kind of learning what
young
fame
people
is
too,
and
like
everything.
Faith
I mean,
Golding
Lauren
and all them,
Southern's
like, they're
what?
all young.
Yeah, Lauren Southern, I think
age.
she started when she was like 17, like she started coming into the space. So it's
Probably
like
even
they've
younger
had
than me.
like maybe, but I mean, so you figure she started in what 2015-ish around there.
Yeah, about 2014, 2015.
Yeah, and got thrusted
Maybe
into
slightly
space.
sooner. She was with like Rebel News. She was with
Yeah.
Rebel News to start with, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, we're talking she's had a decade of experience in all these spaces now and has a wealth of knowledge now of experiences and growth to figure out who she wants to be. So in some ways, it's tough to say of like how much judgment can be laid forth, and I think it's more so of like that's why I think I like Tim Pool even less. That he's been in the world since what 2008, and he's still an asshole. It's like, at what point?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when you talk about
Well, he's
someone
become
who's
more
like,
of an asshole. He's become more of an asshole over time. Like if you go back and watch his older stuff when he was still broadcasting from his living room or whatever, and you can see the fridge in the background and whatever, he was just more humble then.
Yeah,
he was better at his craft, I think, at doing what he said, like presenting.
He also got screwed over a lot less. I mean, he did get screwed over quite a bit. There were a lot of people where he was just paying money out to. I mean, when he first made that compound that they were living at there, and people he brought on staff, it was like, why is Andreas Sertis here? What is the point of him for this company? It's like, oh well, they're just gonna like do something. I'm just giving.
But this
them
was
money
before he
to
even
let
had
them
the
do.
compound.
Well, he did have him beforehand of that, but then after the compound was when they were on that Cass Castle show, and he kind of just let them have a sandbox of like, figure out what you want to make stuff. Like, I'm just going to give you a bunch of money. You don't have to worry about money. Here's, find a place to live or live here if you need to. And just kind of like a think tank almost is kind of what he did there. And the people didn't grab it, and who knows what happened behind the scenes. But I do believe when Tim Pool did say back in the day that like he had these people where it's like he paid them too much and it was enough for them to just go off and live their lives. So I do think he had a lot to learn in that respect, and then through learning that, I do think it did make him more of an angry person and more of a cold person over time. So I mean, things like that can really mess with you when you're kind of like, dude, I paid you like a ton of money and you just picked up and bounced. Like, he had that one engineer guy who like disappeared for like a week and a half when he went to go buy a
Ben
truck.
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I remember that guy ended up coming out later in a video once that you remember the whole Adam Kriegler thing blew up. That same engineer, I believe.
Yeah, he did an interview
later.
with, I think it was Carlin.
That's right. It was was it with Carlin? Yeah, that bitch.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was too. It was with Carlin Borisenko.
Yeah, because she interviewed Tim's sister as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she did, Lisa Poole. That's right, she did. That's I think why he ran away. I believe that was during that time he disappeared. I think it was part of that.
No, that was way before that. That was way before Kriegler. No, it was way after Kriegler left. Yeah. After Kriegler was kind of forced out.
Oh, no, I don't know if it was anything specifically to do with Kriegler, but it was about the reason he was missing was because of he wasn't happy there. It wasn't because he was like
maybe.
It wasn't necessarily tied to Kriegler specifically, but like that guy went missing because it wasn't just like car troubles. He didn't want to be found by them.
Well, I mean, if that definitely happened after Kriegler, so that was definitely after the NDA season. So when Tim started making everyone NDA up so that they could stay there, so he definitely signed something. I know when he did that Carlin interview, he was heavily drunk, if you remember correctly. He was drinking whiskey, and he was really drunk when he did that interview. Like, he was...
Yeah, it looked like he was in, like... It looked like he was in, like, some room in a police station doing, like, a deposition or something. Like,
like an office.
I don't know where he
something.
was. Yeah, he was in some clinical hospital room or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. It was weird.
He is an engineer and a very smart guy, so I'm sure he was able to find work. I'm sure all of them were able to find work. I mean, you worked for Tim Pool. Like, as long as you don't find a left-wing business, you're gonna probably get a job.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, the thing that's a shame about all of that stuff was just that every single little thing about that could be taken in a way of Tim Pool's absolutely evil, but at the same time could be taken in a way of like, but was the employee also to blame? Like, were they really working so hard? Were they kind of rooking Tim? Like, is Tim just trying really hard to like build
both.
something?
I'm sure it's a bit of both.
Yeah. Because it really,
it's a bit
I
of both.
loved Cass Castle. I was so sad when Cass Castle, for me, a show like that, when it goes
Hold on,
away.
was this Was this the behind the scenes one?
Yeah,
Where
the
they
vlog channel.
right. Yeah,
Like there
yeah.
was a YouTuber. I don't know if you know him, Philip DeFranco. You ever hear of him?
Yeah.
I was a big Philly D fan way, but like we're talking like maybe 2014-ish, like before Trump, like really once, maybe
Didn't he
a
get
little bit into
cancelled?
Trump. No, he's still around. He's still doing his thing.
Oh, okay.
They tried, like the right left him pretty much. Maybe it was like 2016. It had to be after Trump got in.
That's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, because I woke up to kind of like, oh, this dude's not right wing. Because more and more I started finding out stuff he was wrong about. But he had a vlog channel just like Cass Castle was, where it was just the employees that worked at his studio and everything, filming these fun vlogs. And then there was this guy, Joe Pants, that was doing all the filming and editing and creation of like coming up with ideas for the show. And when that channel went away, it was literally within a month. That's when the cancellation happened for Phil. Once there was a disconnect between the audience and the actual staff of the place, then all of a sudden everything collapsed. And kind of same thing with Tim Pool. It wasn't long after the Cass Castle was kind of yeeted away, then the Eliza stuff came out. And then Tim, like, it was like everything started to crumble. So it's like almost like, you know, that the bell tolls at like midnight. Like kind of like the end is nigh kind of a thing once a vlog channel
Don't they
goes
still
away.
do that thing? Don't they still do that for like their members only or something?
They do it, but last I remember, I mean, I haven't looked in a long time, but now the Cass Castle is like more of a scripted show. So like everyone's playing a character that's on the show instead of them just kind of hanging out doing random stuff.
Oh,
Which,
okay.
I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, I do feel in some way Tim is trying to create a business. He's trying to create something. And once things kind of go corporate, like it's just an essence of the beast in a way, the corporate beast where
Well, I think it's,
you know,
I think it's fair to say he's successfully created a business. Like that's, I don't think you couldn't turn around and say he's failed. If someone wants to, that's fine, but I don't agree. Like he has succeeded. He's a successful man.
Yeah, but what is success? Like, has he succeeded in a way that he's doing as good as he can? I don't think so. I think if he was more of a humble
certainly
person,
more successful than me.
Oh no, absolutely successful. But if we're looking
By
at
every
it,
measure.
if we were like a quant, let's say, and we were looking at the potential of what he could be doing, if he wasn't an asshole, I think he could be doing at least double what he's doing. If he had
But you can apply that to anyone.
Maybe. I think someone like Patrick Bet-David is doing as great as they can. I don't think there's the only thing he could change is getting rid of Adam. That's about it.
Yeah, he's got a suspicious past.
Yeah, but
He's got a very suspicious past. I don't trust PBD at all. In fact, there was an expose on him. Whether it was very convincing or not, I don't know. He's got dodgy past. He's like all his money comes from dishonest places.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't
put
be
it that way.
surprised.
It's all from like pyramid marketing and shit schemes.
Oh yeah,
it's basically a fraudster, con artist.
Well, he likes to
did you
interview people from the mafia, so yeah.
But did you see his fucking episode on Joe Rogan? Or I don't know which one it was, but he was on there and he had like half of the room. He had to like bring in a truck to give out all of these gifts. Right throughout the whole episode, he was just slowly unwrapping these insane, extravagant gifts. It filled up the whole room, and Joe was like, looking at him, going like, "What's this all about?" and then, as if it was like, because it wasn't just like, this is so tactless. Like, Pat goes to him after he's given him all of these fucking ridiculous gifts. I think one of them was the microphone of his favorite comedian.
Oh yeah,
It was crazy. It was craziness, and he spent like probably $1 million on all this shit. Or not, maybe a couple $100,000. And then Joe's like, "What's all this about?" Because he knew it was he was being bought for something. He could tell.
Oh yeah,
and he was right. Because Pat turned around and says, "It's not for anything. I want you to support President Donald Trump.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's going to be, if you don't support
Yeah.
Donald Trump, it's a
No, I
tacit
think he wanted him to
endorsement for Joe
interview.
Biden.
No, he wanted him to interview Trump. That's what it was.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. You're right. You wanted to yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He wanted him to interview Trump, and if he didn't, it would be a tacit
Support for Biden, because Joe Rogan
support for Biden.
previously had said on an episode he doesn't want to help Trump. He didn't want to interview Trump because he didn't want to help him, and he felt if he interviewed Trump, he would help him. But then in that same conversation, he said he would interview Biden because he felt it wouldn't help Biden. Like, getting Biden on a show like that, Biden wouldn't be able to actually have that conversation, and it would hurt Biden.
It's
whereas
interesting.
with Trump,
It's
it would
an
help him.
interesting. Why would he? It's interesting to think, like, because he doesn't want to help.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think that's all changing this year. I think we will see a
Why didn't he
Joe
want to help?
Rogan.
I wonder. I think because maybe he wasn't totally decided if he wanted to be Trump to be president or not.
Or he wasn't
Now it
bought
seems
off
like he
enough
does.
to be cool with it fully.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I mean,
well, you saw a great attempt with that fucking episode.
Oh, yeah. To
Live on
interview him.
camera, being bought off with gifts.
Yeah, but
So
think about the people
shameless.
he sees on a daily basis. I mean, we think of him as like, well, not we, but like as the people think of him as a person who talks to all these smart people. He must know so much information and have a real great grasp of what's going on. But I wager to bet that once those interviews are done, he just goes home to his wife and is really not researching or doing anything outside of his
Oh, you can
conversation
tell,
with people on the
yeah.
podcasts. Like, I don't think he knows too much of what's going on. So you have to look at his sphere of people who's around him that he would
Yeah, he
like,
has
actually hang out with, and it's not like
Yeah, it's
not great people.
He has a
just
team
saying.
of people that research for him, because even the other day it was
Yeah.
like that Ashton Forbes guy was like, yeah, Joe Rogan reached out to me and wanted me to come on the show, and then he realized, and then he canceled because he called back and said, oh, we've discovered that it's bullshit, we can't do the show, sorry. And whether or not you can say Ashton Forbes is lying or not, I don't know. I don't think he is. I think what really genuinely happened is Joe saw this story, thought, okay, it'll be interesting, and then he watched the Danny Jones podcast where it was all exposed as being like a bit of a LARP, and then he cancelled. Like, to me, that's not very professional. You should have, like, I don't really care for Ashton Forbes, but what you should have done is looked into the story before contacting him, because now you're going to get the guy's hopes all up and then just crushed him. It's not going to be pleasant. Like, imagine getting a call from Joe Rogan.
The show is. That's the
Right,
show
imagine
is
getting a
about
call from
having
Joe
just a
Rogan.
conversation.
Imagine getting on like that call and then like, holy shit, I'm gonna be on Joe Rogan, the best thing, mate. Like, it's one of the best things you can hear. And then if you're into that, let's say, which this guy obviously wants the attention, and then all of a sudden, oh no, 5 minutes later, we've figured out that you're actually full of shit. We can't let you on the show because it's been debunked. I'm like, yeah, but you invited me already. Like, why did you do that? Like, why did you fucking do that? It would have taken
Joe
you
used to
half a
have
day.
people. Joe used to have people on to debunk them. Like, if he felt someone was
Yeah.
full of shit, he would still have them on the show because
Right.
he's there to try and learn. So he would give a person a chance to at least explain their side. But now
Right.
it's kind of like Joe is now didn't he just get signed again by Spotify for like another $100 million or something? Like,
Did it happen finally? Did it?
last I remember is whatever the deal is, it fully went through. So Joe Rogan is, but the thing is, he's not exclusive to Spotify. So Joe's returning to YouTube and the rest of the platforms, but he
Full
still has a
episodes?
deal. In 2020, no, it's definitely
Oh,
newer
that was
than
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, definitely. It was very recently, so yeah, it has to be 2024.
Rogan's previous deal with Spotify tied his payment to audience targets according to the journal. His payout for that deal estimated to result between 180 and 220 million by the end of 2024. But what about
Yeah, what about the new deal?
new deal?
See, I mean, I think you are a learned man. I am just shocked you're not using the Brave browser over this Chrome BS that's happening, even though I see Brave browser at the bottom of your screen. I can't hear you.
Yep. You back?
I hear.
Okay,
Yep,
you're back. What the fuck, StreamYard? Everything just shat the bed.
You tried
You were
to
like,
present screen, and your computer said,
no, it was presenting the whole time. It was
Oh yeah, true.
You said I can't remember what you said now. You cut out. You something something about being learned.
Oh, I
Sounded very
said you are a
complimentary.
learned man. Oh, it was very complimentary. So I'll re-say it. I'll re-say it.
Of course, it cut out then. Fuck it
Even
out.
though I look at you as a very learned man, but I am shocked you're using Chrome over the Brave browser, which I can see at the bottom of your screen.
Because the kills the telemetry and StreamYard doesn't like it when I go to share stuff, like share the screen. It hates it. Every other time, whenever I'm not live, I don't use Chrome.
Yeah,
It's like
it's when
basically
you share
malware.
full screen, it doesn't like Brave. It only does tab.
Yeah.
like share tab. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't be dealing with because because I like to dip between, and I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
cope
then
with the stop
represent
start.
and share this tab
Or
instead. Like
the next best thing is to copy and paste the link into the same tab, but it's like you're fiddling around with the notepad over here. Yeah, it's like
we'll let it slide. At least you still have Brave at the bottom there. You know.
I definitely use it, and like on my other machine, I don't even know if Chrome's even installed on the other machine. Oh, it is for a backup, I think, but I don't. Yeah, I don't use it otherwise. But February
Oh, yeah,
2nd, this one is announced a new multi-year deal with the comedian and podcaster Joe Rogan on Friday, and a bid to tap. Where is it?
250. I think it said
250.
Yeah, third
Oh
from the
yeah,
bottom.
multi-year, which is estimated to be worth as much as $250 million, involves upfront minimum guarantee plus revenue sharing. Doesn't say any of that stuff. I know I have heard what you were talking about though, that he was going to share it with YouTube and things.
Yeah. No, he said it himself. That he said
Did
on
he?
one of his episodes, yeah, that he's going to be coming back to
Oh, here it is.
YouTube, and that's why he made the deal. Especially, he was very happy with that.
Okay, under a prior multi-million deal, it had been under Spotify exclusive. Shit-sided. Yeah, well, that's basically. I'm not finding it in writing here, but we've all heard it.
Yeah. No, I'm absolutely certain he said it on one of his
See, because
episodes.
that will. I stopped watching him altogether. The only ones that I would watch was like occasionally if I saw like it would come up on my phone like an interesting name, I would maybe set aside some of the time to watch that. But
Same.
when he was on YouTube, I used to watch pretty much every single episode.
Yeah.
Because it would just naturally roll into my coming up next.
I
wonder if
listened
he'd
to it
still
every
be,
day.
like, posting
I
more.
walked every day, and I would listen to Joe Rogan pretty much every day on my walk, just because I could just put it on and let it play. You know.
I've probably heard 1,000 of his 2,500 episodes. You know, or whatever it is.
And you know what I listened to it on my phone? The Brave browser. I'm just messing. but it is true. I did listen to it on the Brave browser on my phone because the Brave browser on the phone allows you to shut your screen and still hear YouTube videos. Whereas if you use the YouTube app, you have to pay for YouTube Premium to shut off your screen and put it in your pocket, which is I think just ludicrous. Like, what a dumb thing. It's like, okay, we have podcasts on our platform, but you know what? If you want to be able to actually use it for while you go out on a walk or listen to it anywhere, you have to have the screen on. Like, what is that? Stupid.
That's why Apple's. Hold on. Yeah, that's why Apple. I mean, because the audio with Apple is audio only. You don't have any option to upload the video. So yeah, there is no such restriction with Apple Podcasts, but I don't believe you need to go and then add it to like Samsung and shit like that for it to be available on Android devices. So you could do that. What about Spotify audio?
Oh, well, I don't need to do Spotify audio. That was back when Rogan was on YouTube. So like now I just listen to anything on YouTube I feel like on a walk or whatnot. But it was like there was a
Yeah.
little while before I found out about Brave. I was actually paying for YouTube Premium just so I can listen to like Rogan or something on my walk. And then when I found out about Brave, I was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. And on top of that,
Yeah,
with
Brave's
Brave
great.
browser, no ads.
Yeah, because it comes built in. uBlock Origin comes built in with it, which is the best. It's the best ad blocker. I don't know if
Even
I'm allowed
though-
to say that, but I did.
YouTube's trying to put the kibosh on that though by
But
you load
it's
up a
not
video.
working.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not working though, and I've defeated it 100% of it. Like one time it came up, and I've never seen it again on any machine in my house.
What YouTube is trying to do now is they're delaying the play. So you open up a tab and it takes like 30 seconds for the video to start to play. So you think it's like lag. They're trying to make it feel like, oh, Brave browser's a laggy browser. And it's like, yeah, okay.
It doesn't. Yeah. But do you know what? It's so hilarious because I've seen how they try to put in that artificial lag, and you can tell where it's happening because they've got all these graphics come up on the screen, pretending to be loading videos in their place when it's like, no, that's an extra asset that they had to load to put that there. Like, they're putting shit in the way. But I'm on 5G. My internet's really fast anyway, so it's like that 30 seconds ain't 30 seconds. It's like half a second. You don't even notice it. It's so.
Even on my computer, like the computer, I'm just like, yeah, okay. I have like 20 tabs open. Everything else is playing. My Amazon's playing. Why isn't the YouTube playing? Like, good try. You guys are idiots.
You can tell when it's within.
Yeah, all the BS is. I'm happy to be among the 20%, hopefully. Or I'm someone in the idiocracy world who just hasn't realized yet that I'm one of the 80, and it's just like, I'm probably on the cusp of the 80 though. I wouldn't say I'm like too high above it.
It depends what it comes to.
80%
here we go. When it comes to what?
I would say my dumbness is the ability to have the mental strength to not eat bad food. That's where I am fully willing to eat horrible things. I wish I wasn't, though.
I do that too.
Yeah.
I eat really quite badly. Although I don't think I eat as badly as people think. It's just that I don't have my eating habit isn't like regular by any means. Like it's a little bit autistic actually. If I enjoy something, I'll eat that over and over again, like every single night for 3 months.
Oh yeah.
To the point of like, oh, you're starting to get sick and you need to do something about it. You need to eat something else, like, because your shit is turning into like mud.
Yeah, if you eat too much macaroni and cheese, especially the Kraft version, your shit will come out yellow. Like legit.
Right.
Yellow.
Well, I've been eating like chicken skewers, like honey soy chicken skewers. I'm like, oh, there's too much soy in this. I'm gonna turn into like a woman.
Yeah, you're gonna start getting some boobies.
Yeah,
we're gonna call you Daniela. You're gonna be Daniela. Hey, you know what? You could start a whole career. You get funding from Bud Light. You know, like you already got the long hair. You're closer to a woman than Dylan Mulvaney is right now. Just saying.
I am. Speaking of moobs.
Yeah.
Speaking of man boobs. Ian Miles Cheong is a character and a Malaysian fellow who pretends to be American. Even so far as just posting things like, Donald Trump is my president. And then later, after being paid by the DeSantis campaign, because his opinions are entirely for sale, to trash on Donald Trump. And so all of a sudden, Trump is like the worst thing ever. And it's all DeSantis. And it's all... This guy is such a fucking grifter. And he is the worst possible human you can think of to be online. So he originally started his whole grift in Reddit. He was a major Reddit moderator for the biggest subreddits out there, like Ask Reddit, WTF, R Politics, They all had like millions and millions of things, and he got away with spanning. I'll read through this thing, and this will like explain for those who don't know the history of Chungus over here. This fucking little disgusting chodus,
like me.
Let's go through it. Ian Miles
Yeah, I
Strong,
should say
I
haven't seen this. I should say I haven't seen this. I know nothing about this. I'm looking forward to this.
So there's various, like you may have seen various like things on the quartering about Ian Miles Chong.
Not really.
Okay, so throughout the years, a lot of these details I'm going to bring up now, the quartering will have mentioned at some point along in the last few years, because the quartering at one point hired him as his to run his website.
Wow.
And that's why he hates him so much, because he was stealing money. What happened with, now this isn't included here in this thread, so I'll explain this first.
Wait, Ian was, or the
Yeah,
quartering?
Ian Miles Chong was stealing money from the quartering to pay for an e-girl to get an iPhone.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, should we maybe
I know
just
that
like,
there's
go to that little bit for a second, because it's only 2 minutes.
He took your money, because back when we tried to survive as a games-only website with exclusively games, that project was crowdfunded. It was also
By the way, Jeremy, I'll put this down below, so calm your tits.
supported by a lot of my money. On top of that, we ultimately failed to be sustainable, probably because we don't have huge backers, or probably because websites are dead. It's a wide variety of reasons. I digress. I thought Ian was well connected at that time, so I hired him as my editor-in-chief for the website.
I'm kind of shocked, because I only just found this video last night, and I know that the quartering's been like bitching about, rightfully so, about Chungus for a long time, and I'm on your side, Jeremy. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm actually defending you in this video. But like, I was shocked to hear, because this video here is 2 years old.
Wow.
I was shocked to hear that he actually worked. He's been in so many different fucking places, including the quartering's website.
Because I don't know anything about running websites. And within days, he had begun misappropriating company funds to, and I kid you not, send money to an e-girl so she could buy an iPhone. I am not kidding.
Imagine that.
I only discovered this after he had drawn several monthly salary payments from me, and then requested more money for an assistant, which I provided him. And when I asked what this assistant would be doing, or what they had been doing, because they had obvious tasks outlaid, I was convinced it was a relatively small amount of money, and I was anxious to get the website going. And so I believed that this would help get articles going faster. After 1 or 2 payments to said assistant, I started to question what exactly they were doing. And when I did, he immediately folded and admitted the truth, that he was stealing my money.
Doing nothing?
That's why.
So he's not even going out of his way to make up good lies and excuses. He's just shamelessly going in and stealing from people.
Wow.
What a cunt.
That's
like, what
nuts.
a piece of dog shit.
Like, it would be one thing if he, like, I would say, like, was just bad at his job, but also taking money, but to do, like, I'm not excusing this type of thing to do, but, like, I'm shocked that he wasn't even doing anything. Like, if all he had to do was make up some articles, like,
it
that's
actually gets so much worse. It actually gets so much worse. This person actually, I believe, should be in prison. I believe Ian Miles Chong belongs in jail, and you'll understand why in a moment.
But
Ian was born.
Just really quick on that, I just got to point out just how ludicrous that is, because if he's an editor-in-chief, he's not coding the website. He's not a web dev then. He's literally...
I don't know what is...
these things function like you can get it on WordPress or something, just the coding of the website to just put up articles. Like it's just
like Squarespace or something.
Yeah, Squarespace. The UI of it and the UX of it is equivalent to making a post on a social media platform. It's like the easiest thing in the world to do. Like on the internet, and that's all he had to do, and he could have just rooked Jeremy out of money and just made like BS articles and made like a BS website, but he didn't even do that. So that's why it's just so extra shocking to me of like
it's lazy.
The level
it's
of lazy. Yeah,
and brazen.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is an 11 tweet thread, and they're long tweets.
Okay.
So
I'll let you go through it then. I won't.
This will be the last thing of the show, I think.
Because
this will take us to the end. Yeah. Ian Miles Cheong, a Malaysian obsessed with the West. Ian was born and raised in Malaysia. He lives in Malaysia. However, he only concerns himself with Western issues. Weird, right? In this thread, we'll explain the who, what, and why in regards to Cheong. First of all, let's have a look at this video of Chunga's from a couple of years, like 2013. Pink shirt, has nothing to do with politics, and in fact, quite a feminist.
So the worst thing about wanting to make a video is trying to figure out what you want to talk about, because there's rarely anything that comes to mind immediately. When you think, oh, hey, I want to make a video. What do I say? What do I say? I don't know what to say. Okay, there's this thing where there's this petition for FIFA 13 to include female characters. And it's a pretty good petition. It goes like this, right? It says here, FIFA by EA Sports is one of the most successful sports video game series of all time. Currently, the game can be played on any console, PC or Mac, tablets, etc., etc. You know, it goes on to state that it is pretty much one of the most popular games. It's sold.
Basically, this isn't really of importance. It's showing you what kind of content he put out before he got into this grifting thing in politics. Ian is Malaysian.
He was apparently grifting at that point if he's trying to get girls into a FIFA game, which is a men's soccer game.
Yeah, but he hadn't entered the political fray yet.
Yeah.
He didn't. That hadn't happened yet. He was just still very much in the gamer grift.
Yeah.
Now
I think that was around Gamergate, wasn't it?
Yes, and this guy exactly, and this guy and they make mention of that in this, and he was against, so. Ian is Malaysian. Oh, fuck off, cunt. Ian is Malaysian. Why obsess over the West? There's a lot to cover with Ian, so I thought it'd be best to go from the bottom up. Ian Miles Cheong was born in Malaysia. He still lives in Malaysia. He's never lived anywhere else aside from Malaysia. For those familiar with Ian's content but not familiar with Ian himself, you may be scratching your head right now. He's Malaysian. Why is he so obsessed with the domestic and political issues of the US and Canada? Why is he so obsessed with the domestic and political issues of Europe? I've never seen him tweet anything about Malaysia. I mean, Malaysia recently crowned a new king. That's pretty big news, right? So why didn't Ian post about it? Simple. He dreads having his 900,000 plus followers know that he resides in Malaysia. And you'll find that on his profile. He's just got Earth as his location. He never mentions Malaysia at all. Even if something big happened there, like mentioning it. Most people don't realize, no. Really? Most people think he's American. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fucking Elon Musk is one of his favorite. Elon Musk loves this guy. That should tell you a lot about Elon Musk.
Oh, I don't like Elon Musk. You don't have to sell
all
me
his
on
friends
that
are the worst. I know. Fucking since I brought it up, I've got to do this now. Hold on.
I forgot about Medic.
Very cool. Very cool.
Very cool. That's so good. I totally forgot about that. Thank you for that.
Wish.com, Elon Musk. Okay. He knows that anyone can kill his... Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he did it again.
He knows that alone can kill his grift. It pays to speak about the West. He wants the English-speaking Western audience. He can sit there in Malaysia, a country in the Eastern Hemisphere, and post divisive content and political content that has literally zero effect on him. That's the perfect gig. Post about things that don't concern you and have a massive audience that don't know much about you equals dollars. As we go further down in this thread, you'll notice a pattern of Ian inserting himself in situations that don't concern him. So it sounds fairly like tame at this point, but it starts to get really disgusting as you go along. So Sol Invictus was his handle as a Reddit moderator. Before Ian took over Twitter with his grift, he was a prominent Reddit moderator. Ian had a 4-year Reddit career from 2008 to 2012, in which he had essentially lived and breathed Reddit. I'll look over on this screen. Here are some of the subreddits Ian modded. There's the size of them today. Ask Reddit with 45 million people, second largest in the world. Today I Learned, 35 million people. Politics, 8.5 million. What the fuck, 7 million. So yeah, he was basically at the helm of all of these massive things. So Ian was modding for some of the largest subreddits in the world. Notice how I wrote Reddit. His Reddit career was from 2008 to 2012. Yeah, because in 2012 he got banned. Why? And there's news articles about it. It was a big deal because Ian finessed the system. On Reddit, like most social media sites, they have a spam filters. So if you're posting, and I know this because they banned me just for making a single post on my own profile because it had a link in it.
Wow.
Gone, banned. To my own fucking YouTube channel.
Wow.
Not allowed on your own fucking thing, apparently. On Reddit, like most, they have spam filters. So if you're posting too much in a subreddit or posted too many links, your post would get picked up by a spam filter and they wouldn't show up. In some cases, people were banned, like me. And this was, I was certainly not spamming at all. Fuck you.
You do it again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm saying fuck you to the browser.
Yeah.
Because Ian was a mod, these filters didn't apply to him. So during the time Ian was moderating some of the biggest subreddits in the world, he was also one of the top publishers on a gaming news site called Gameranks.
Oh.
Ian would spam links to his articles on Gameranks in the different subreddits he was modding and subvert the spam filter. It's believed he did this because the more people viewed his articles, the more money he would make. But Ian did more than spam his own articles. He also spammed the links of another site for money. He spammed links from a site called The Global Post, and when GP was confronted with the allegation, they said they had hired Ian as a social media consultant, when in reality, Ian was abusing his moderator power and breaking terms of service by spamming undisclosed promos on various subreddits. By doing this, Ian gained over 350,000 link karma in his 4-year Reddit history, 4-year Reddit career. Eventually, Ian was called out on the Report the Spammers, and not only was his link spamming brought up, but people alleged that Ian was also operating on an alt account named Slaterhurst. And they spelt this incorrectly here. Coincidentally, Redditors noticed that when Sol Invictus was banned, Slaterhurst also disappeared from the site. In 2012, Daily Dot said, Cheong is likely the most influential Redditor to have ever suffered the spam banner hammer. However, the story of Sol Invictus doesn't end there.
You should really quickly, though, point out, though, for having 2 accounts disappeared like that, that means it was like an IP ban or something like that. Take out 2 separate accounts at the same time. Unless he was somehow maybe link into a same email or something, which would be, I doubt it.
He would have had something that links them together, and it would have been something that he didn't think of or didn't care about because he's reckless, as we know from Jeremy's story.
Yeah.
Sol Invictus, I don't know what the X is supposed to times Exitium. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Here's a chat log of Ian from the site RPG Codex. He goes by 2 names here. There's familiar Sol Invictus and Exitium. Or Excitium. I'm not sure what that is. Exitium.
No.
Some quotes from Ian as follows. And I don't know if I can actually say these things, because these are quotes from Ian Miles Cheong now.
What?
Yeah, these are real things, and you'll see them. You see them in, like, there's photo evidence of it here. So I can't spell African without the
Yeah.
You can see what's on the screen. They call me a banana because I'm like yellow on the. See, I'm probably going to get busted for even saying this stuff, but you can read these things on the screen. Things about Hitler, basically saying Hitler is his fucking idol, is what he said. Why didn't the Holocaust? You know, he's talking about a whole lot of awful things and basically praising Hitler, and
Well,
you know, making fun of
if you
Jews.
noticed, did you notice that his Slaterhurst name is very German sounding? Like I can
It
hear like
is, right.
Slaterhurst.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he said things like Heil Hitler, mein Führer, Heil.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this guy's like out of control. Ian would never speak like that today for two reasons. One, he's got a massive platform that's paying him well and he doesn't want to lose it. Two, he works for Rebel News, and we'll get onto that later. Now, here's an image showing us screenshots of the things that he said. If you want to pause this at any time, you can do so. But basically, he said all of these horrible, horrible things.
Wait, but so how did they link that to him because of the profile picture on it?
Exidium, Sol Invictus, Ian Miles Rex, Sol Invictus, Exidium Cheong.
Wow.
Like it's literally, he's put it in his name.
Wow.
Ridiculous. Insanity. But, you know, back then he was just some Malaysian kid who probably doesn't even know this stuff is taboo to say in the West.
He doesn't look like a kid in that picture, to be honest with you. He looks like an old guy in that picture, though. Look at the hair.
Yeah, he's like I think
maybe
he's
it's
47, isn't he?
Is he?
Isn't
Oh,
he
wow.
like 40 something? I don't know. Ian Miles Cheong falsely accuses man of grape. Can you say the R word or not? I know this is painful. Can you say the R word on YouTube? You just get demonetized, don't you?
You can say grape. That
I've heard
seems
people
to
say.
work.
I've heard people say. I'm not monetized, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter then. You should have
Okay,
at
then
it. You worry about it the
all
day
right,
you get monetized and it scans all your past videos and you get dinged on like a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, all of them. I won't. Yeah, they'll all suffocate under that day. But Ian Miles Cheong falsely accuses man of rape. Ian accused another moderator, R. Kotal and someone subreddit of being a rapist with no evidence whatsoever. At the time, Ian was involved in something called Gamergate.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to go too deep into Gamergate, but essentially it was a movement around 2014 where some people believed that gaming journalism / development scene was becoming too politically correct and that women were being unfairly handed opportunities due to the fact that they were female.
Because they were.
To an online war. Right. Right. This led to an online war between people who agreed with the premise of Gamergate and people who thought it was nonsense. Ian was what would be considered as anti-Gamergate, of course. The mod Ian was accusing of rape believed in the premise of Gamergate, and whether you agree with him or not, I think what we can all agree on is that you don't falsely accuse someone of rape just because they hold different opinions than you. Well, Ian does. In the image below, you can see Ian go from literally calling someone a rapist to then stating that it is impossible to prove that said person was in fact a rapist. Okay. Ian argued that the moderator in question had an alt account named The Philosophy of Rape. What? The account Ian claimed was the mod's alt was being used to defend an alleged... Okay, the word comes up so often, I'm just going to start. I feel awkward about
grape.
it. I'm going to
Just say grape. Yeah.
Grapist at the time. Ian had zero evidence that the account was the moderator's alt, but he made the claim anyway. Eventually, Ian backtracks as he realized it's probably not the best idea to call somebody a grapist when there's precisely zero evidence for the claim. So yes, Ian went as far as to lie about someone being a grapist just because they held a different opinion from him. False allegations are common when it comes to Ian, however. You'll notice this as we go further into the thread. So this is him here. This is him on old Twitter. So Gamergate has an actual grapist in its midst. Leading the pack in the movement claims to not... Yeah. And then later on. So there's he brings receipts for this. A wild goose docs. I'm just going to do it like this because it's easier. It keeps
Yeah.
going back and forwards. A couple of years ago, Ian was involved in a beef with a man called Wild Goose. Ian claimed Wild Goose DM'd him